I mean, this narrative has, existed ever since 2008. So I think Apple is doing exceptionally well. There's a lot of research in the last couple of months that even without a new phone, even with all the pent-up demand, the super cycle for the last 2 to 3 years, Apple's still converting Android users at a really high percentage. So I'm not worried about them taking Android users at all. In fact, I would expect that to increase here just based on how incredible the new phones really are.
Jonathan, do you buy that? I mean, are people either Apple people or Android partisans? And does it really break down to something like that? Or is it more fluid? And do people genuinely do a side-by-side comparison of features when it's time for them to get a new phone?
So I think that's a great point. I would say on the Android side, it's incredibly fluid. I would say their lock-in is certainly not as strong as Apple's. As far as people that own iPhones, I don't think we see a lot of people that have iPhones going to Android or to another platform. If anything, they would get a different model iPhone because of how strong that Apple ecosystem is.
Chris, what do you think? Are there going to be converts to the iPhone 10 from Android?
I think so. I think a lot of people are going to see the flash and the novelty features of things like Animoji. But I also think that, you're kind of locked into your own system increasingly these days. If you're in the iOS walled garden, you're pretty much staying there. You hear Tim Cook call Android, as he did a few years ago, a toxic hell stew. It's supposedly full of all these security concerns and apps that aren't fully tested in the way that, the way that Apple kind of protects you or sells itself on protecting you. So I think that we're entering a phase now where people are going to decide which side of the walled garden they're on. Are you in Apple or are you on kind of the Android side of things? If you're on Android, you're going to choose Samsung or Google. And that, I think we're going to see a certain amount of maturity in this market going forward.
Jonathan, how common is it for people to switch from one platform to the other?
In my experience, it's not that common. I think, to Chris's point, I think we're seeing that, but we're also seeing less of that in some cases from the other side, because I feel like a lot of Android users over the past couple of years have way less reasons to stick on that side of the fence. Apple has done a great job at picking off all the low-hanging fruit and even the major features that lacked. So you now have wireless charging, you have incredible security, you have the OLED screen, you have all these advanced features that might have started on Android first, some of them, but it really takes Apple with their combination of hardware and software to really marry those two together into a product that the majority of people want to use and enjoy using. That's the major part here.
Chris, this whole discussion is, I guess, underscoring why so many on Wall Street are very focused on the existing installed base of iPhones when it comes to Apple's outlook, and also, how many of them are more than 2 years old. So I guess the question is, if you are either an Apple person or an Android person, are you buying phones less frequently? In other words, is the upgrade cycle what it once was? Or, at this point, do we really have to have that much better of a new version to get people to move, or is it pretty much everyone grabs for the new thing?
I think we're seeing that less and less, people grabbing for the new thing. I mean, I'm still an iPhone 6S owner. I love that headphone jack. I'm going to stick with that phone until it dies on me. And, I hadn't thought of upgrading to the 7 or the 8 or even the 10 at this stage. Look, people are happy with the phone that they have. Increasingly, it's also, we're seeing that in the tablet realm. People buy an iPad and they stick with it for years. I think increasingly as phones become larger, they become more tablet-like, more reliable, the batteries get more and more power. We're going to see that increasingly in the phone realm as well. So that's why I say this is a mature market. People aren't paying that much attention. They only care when upgrade time comes around, and if they're not satisfied with their phone, that's when they head to the Apple Store.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.